We have Alex and Rachel.
You can take a seat, Mr. Worthing.
Oh, thank you, Lady Bracknell. I prefer standing.
I feel bound to tell you that you are not down on my list of eligible young men. Although I have the same list as the dear Duchess of Bolton has. We work together, in fact. However, I am quite ready to enter your name, should your answers be what a really affectionate mother requires. Do you smoke?
Well, yes, I must admit I do smoke.
I'm glad to hear it. A man should always have an occupation of some kind. There are far too many idle men in London as it is. How old are you?
29.
A very good age to be married at. I've always been of opinion that a man who desires to get married should know either everything or nothing. What do you know?
I know nothing, Lady Bracknell.
I am pleased to hear it. I do not approve of anything that tampers with natural ignorance. Ignorance is like a delicate, exotic fruit. Touch it and the bloom is gone. The whole theory of modern education is radically unsound. Fortunately in England, at any rate, education produces no effect whatsoever. If it did, it would prove a serious danger to the upper classes and probably lead to acts of violence in Grosvenor Square. What is your income?
Between 7,000 and 8,000 a year.
In land or in investments?
In investments chiefly.
That is satisfactory. What between the duties expected during one's lifetime and the duties exacted from one after one's death, land has ceased to be either a profit or a pleasure. It gives one position and prevents one from keeping it up. That's all that can be said about land.
I have a country house, with some land, of course. It has about 1,500 acres to it, I believe, but I don't depend on it for my real income. In fact, as far as I can make out, the poachers are the only one who can make anything out of it.
A country house. How many bedrooms? Well, that point can be cleared up afterwards. You have a townhouse, I hope. A girl with a simple, unspoiled nature like Gwendolyn could hardly be expected to reside in the country.
Well, I own a house in Belgrave Square, but it is let by the year to Lady Bloxham. Of course, I can get it back whenever I like, at 6 months' notice.
Lady Blossom? I don't know her.
Oh, she goes about very little. She's a lady considerably in years.
Ha, nowadays that is no guarantee of respectability of character. What number in Belgrave Square?
149.
The unfashionable side. I thought there was something, however, that could be easily altered.
Do you mean the fashion or the side?
Both, if necessary, I presume. What are your politics?
Well, I'm afraid I really have none. I'm a liberal unionist.
Oh, they count as Tories. They dine with us, or come in the evening at any rate. Now to minor matters. Are your parents living?
I've lost both my parents.
To lose one parent, Mr. Worthing, may be regarded as a misfortune. To lose both looks like carelessness. Who was your father? He was evidently a man of some wealth. Was he born in what the radical papers call the purple of commerce? Or did he rise from the ranks of the aristocracy?
I'm afraid I really don't know. The fact is, Lady Bracknell, I said I lost my parents. It would be nearer to the truth to say that my parents lost me. I don't actually know who I am birthed by. I was found.
Found.
The late Mr. Thomas Cardew, an old gentleman of very charitable and kindly disposition, found me and gave me the name Worthing because he happened to have a first-class ticket for Worthing in his pocket at the time. Worthing is placed in Sussex. It is a seaside resort.
Where did the charitable gentleman who had a first-class ticket for this seaside resort find you?
In a handbag.
A handbag?
Yes, Lady Bracknell. I was in a handbag, a somewhat large black leather handbag with handles to it. An ordinary handbag, in fact.
In what locality did this Mr. James or Thomas Cardew come across this ordinary handbag?
In the cloakroom at Victoria Station. It was given to him in mistake for his own.
The cloakroom at Victoria Station.
Yes, Brighton line.
The line is immaterial, Mr. Worthing. I confess I feel somewhat bewildered by what you have just told me. To be born, at any rate, bred in a handbag? whether it had handles or not, seems to me to display a contempt for the ordinary decencies of family life that remind one of the worst excesses of the French Revolution. And I presume you know what that unfortunate movement led to? As for the particular locality of which the handbag was found, a cloakroom at a railway station might serve to conceal a social indiscretion, has probably, indeed, been used for that purpose before now. But it could hardly be regarded as an assured basis for a recognized position in good society.
May I ask you then what you would advise me to do? I need hardly say I would do anything in the world to ensure Gwendolyn's happiness.
I would strongly advise you, Mr. Worthing, to try and acquire some relations as soon as possible and make a definite effort to produce at any rate one parent of either sex before the season is quite over.
Well, I don't see how I could possibly manage to do that. I can produce the handbag at any moment. It's in my dressing room at home. I really think that should satisfy you, Lady Bracknell.
Me, sir? What has it to do with me? You can hardly imagine that I, as Lord Bracknell, would dream of allowing our daughter, a girl brought up with the utmost care, to marry into a cloakroom and form an alliance with a parcel? Good morning, Mr. Worthing.
Good morning!
Wow! Wow, you all right down there?
Good morning. All right.
We already made it. Thank you very much.
Okay. Why don't you have a seat? And gosh, there was just a lot going on. Tell us about the scene.
So the overall arching idea that we kind of came up with was like to start out with Jack having the power because he's a very arrogant kind of character, but really as the
But I got it the whole time.
yeah, she really has it in reality like the whole time, and we're like trying to show that change by like me starting off having it by entering and then her leaving dramatically like that, just her having the power.
Okay.
We did do a little bit of sharing, but for the most part, it was kind of like a constant battle struggle because we both wanted to be on top,
Yeah,
but I was really the dominant character, whether he wanted to admit it or not.
exactly. And that's just how the characters are. Like she's a very like frank
She's sassy.
character. She's very frank and honest about how she feels, and Jack's very arrogant and full of himself and how he is. So they just have like a clash together. So that's why we were trying to share the power, but really her character
I even got
has
the bigger stool.
Yeah, yeah, we did that on purpose too. So really her character has the power. It just takes Jack a little longer to realize that she really controls his life.
Right.
Did you intentionally? I don't know if you intentionally did it, but 4 times Alex sought out the sharing, and 2 times Rachel sought out the sharing. Does that make sense with what they're saying?
Yeah.
So he's 4 times trying to be like, hey, I have as much power as you. Hey, I have as much power as you.
I think he wanted.
And there's only 2 times where she had to take it away.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
because
because
he
he's
wanted to,
he's
like,
trying
be at level
like
with
my character's trying to assert his dominance over her, and he's not really able to do that
That's
because of
not
how
working.
powerful her character is.
So that made a lot of sense, the sharing distribution of how you guys did that.
Yeah.
Alex, talk about either you're taking out of scene or you're taking.
Oh, I have those. So when I took out of scene, it was when she asked my parents were living or not, and then with the handbag, and the reason